before I came to Wendy, I had this view of therapy, which was that you lay down and you talk about your problems and you talk about all these things, and I just had this image of being stuck. Like, people who go to therapy are stuck. They're the hopeless people. The people that just like don't move anywhere in life, and they just talk about problems, and they go through the same conversation about their childhood again and again. And one of the things that really inspired me about Wendy is when I talked to her the first time, one of the things she talked about was, I'm excited to do this because I'm excited to give you the tools to be able to, move forward. And since coming here, I've really realized that therapy is not just sitting there talking about problems. Yeah, there's some tough times and things you have to work through, and sometimes you do feel a little stuck, but at the end of the day, like, you're getting the tools, and there's like this slow but constant progress. Even like, if I look at myself a year ago, I thought I had made a lot of progress in my first year and a half of seeing Wendy. But if I look back, at the last year and see myself then, I can see this like growth. And so I know that, over the time, it wasn't just about talking about problems and never going anywhere. It's been really inspirational to feel like I'm actually moving forward and able to help myself be, stronger and better for the people I care about and love. I think working with Wendy was probably the best decision I've ever made in my entire life, honestly. And I'm getting a little choked up saying that. I think if I hadn't found Wendy, I don't know where I would be. I think, I'm sure I would have figured it out, right? But I think eventually, by finding Wendy, I feel like I've found a new depth of life. Like, I feel like I've been able to feel things that I wasn't able to feel before. I've been able to cope with things that I wasn't able to cope with. And finding Wendy, I hope, will help other people as well. I first came to see Wendy because I was at a really big transitional part in my life. I had just left my previous company, and I was going to a new company, and so I was starting to feel a little bit of just anxiety towards what I was doing, and I was kind of taking it out in my personal life with my wife. And so I started to realize, like, hey, if I don't make a change, if I don't do something different, then I'm going to end up in a pattern that I don't want to be in. So I actually found Wendy, and I really liked her bio, just because it was really motivational. It talked a lot about like getting you to the point where you were going to grow and you were going to be able to have the tools to help yourself. And she was just so passionate on the phone when I did like we did like a phone screening. And I think that was it. From Wendy, I've learned really just a lot about knowing who I am. When I first started, I remember, I really didn't know much about myself. Actually, I kind of was in a little bit of a haze, I would say. So she helped me first kind of like just know who I am, period, and even where to start and kind of work through different things in my life. And I think now I've really started the journey of the self-acceptance, which I think is the ultimate goal. Since working with Wendy personally, my wife and I get along a lot better. We're just more accepting of each other. We kind of accept who each other is instead of trying to change each other all the time. That's one big thing. As far as my career goes, I've had 3 promotions since I've started working with Wendy, and a lot of that I think comes from just having the tools to be able to work better with other people. My relationship with my mom is a lot better. My relationship with friends and judging people, when I probably shouldn't have judged them, I've been better there too. So we talk about a lot of things, right? And you need some time to really practice. I need some time to practice the things that we've talked about. I do find that, just like anything, you kind of need a coach or somebody to remind you, right? So I'll come in and in my monthly check-in, a lot of times I'll remember some things. So I'll talk about, what I've been practicing, or what are some of the things I've done, or some of the things I've picked up. But there's always things I've forgotten. So Wendy will remind me, hey, like last time we talked about this, and then I make the connection again. And it feels like every time, I remake the connection in the monthly check-in, it just gets me like more and more prepared to go forward. So I feel that steady progress. And I think without the monthly check-in, I would probably start to forget a lot of things, and I wouldn't be like, it's kind of like, you're going straight, and then, you get pushed straight, but you might start to go off a little bit. So every month Wendy corrects, and then you keep going forward again. So it's been, I think that's why I like the monthly check-in. One of the things for me is that I was so kind of wrapped up in myself that I wasn't taking the time to recognize, the progress going forward. A lot of times you get a lot of things thrown at you, or a new idea online comes up and you're like, I'm going to jump full into this, and then you kind of lose motivation. So what I did when I first started going to see Wendy was we would talk about something in class, and then during the session, and I would just like look for that moment to do something. So for example, I remember one time I wasn't being very present. So I was walking and I wanted to be more present. So I was walking out of my office, and, normally I just walk straight out the door and, straight to like, I got to get my walk in and walk this many miles and go get lunch. And I have 40 minutes, whatever, 30 minutes. But I was a little bit slower, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to be in the moment. And I just noticed this older woman carrying a bunch of boxes, and I held the door for her. And she thanked me, and I just felt really good after that. So I came in and I said, one of my wins this week was I was present, and because of it, I had this beautiful moment with a stranger. And that was motivating. And so by continuously talking about those seemingly small wins, I just got a lot of happiness, and it made me more motivated to come back. And then the bigger wins started to happen.